Good evening. Welcome to the February 2nd, 2016 meeting of the Millis School Committee. I'll start by announcing that the meeting is being recorded and can be viewed on Mondays at 7 p.m. on Comcast Channel 8 or Verizon Channel 37. Start with a roll call. I'll go to my left. Denise?
Here.
John?
Here.
Nancy?
Here.
Steve?
Present.
Jen?
Here.
Stephanie? No teacher representatives tonight. Jody, anybody signed in for open session?
No.
Okay. I will move to action items. Motion to consideration to approve the meeting minutes from January 19th.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Doherty.
make a motion to approve the school committee meeting minutes for January 19th, 2016.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is consideration to approve out-of-state trip to Maine for outdoor pursuits. In our packets, we have a letter that went to parents of the trip, as well as the formal request for transportation and approval. Date of the trip is going to be May 19th, 2016, into Crabapple, Maine. They have 4 chaperones, 30 students. Usually go up. It's an overnight trip out of state, which is why we need to approve it. This has gone on for a number of years. Never had any issues resulting from the trip.
Never
Negative.
lost a kid.
No fatality.
No one's ever lost.
Yes. So I would entertain a motion to approve this trip.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Catalano.
I make a motion to approve an out-of-state trip for the Outdoor Pursuits Club to going to Crabapple, Maine. The date of the trip is 5/19/2016. Returning, I think it returns on the 21st. That's a Friday.
3 nights and 4 days.
Oh, okay, so that'll be 22nd, returning on the 22nd for 4 chaperones and 30 kids.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thanks. Next, student representative.
So junior parent college night is tomorrow night, and it'll just like give information about people planning on going to college. And then the electrocardiogram screening provided by the Live for Evan organization will be held February 10th for all students who would like to participate and get their heart screened. And then February break is the 15th through the 19th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no teacher representatives tonight, so we'll move to superintendent's report, proposed warrant articles, review.
Yes, and I asked Mr. McDuff if he would attend tonight in case there were any questions on the warrant articles. The warrant articles are the same as the previous meeting, other than a memo that is at the end of your of that packet of articles, recommending that we actually do some of the roof repairs now, as well as put it forth as a warrant article, because of the leaking that is going on in the Clyde Brown School, especially in room 5, but also in the cafeteria and the TPS office suite. So in terms of the warrant articles, I would recommend to the committee that with one change, and that is swapping the priority order of article number 7 for the bathroom upgrades, painting, and doing the metal molding around the pipes. I would put that at, swap it with number 8 and elevate the instructional materials to just a little bit of a higher priority and recommend that we put these articles forth to town meeting in that order.
Nancy and I met with the town administrator, and Board of Selectmen chair earlier and have some preliminary, well, we have what the free cash number was as of July, which is much higher than it's projecting to be much higher than it's been, was last year. We didn't use a lot of free cash in November. So I would actually recommend at this stage, because we have to put them on the warrant, to put them all on the warrant. If there are amounts that change over the next month or two, because as we're going through our full budget process, we find some revolving account or one-time money to take care of a couple of things. We can always adjust amounts or even ask that the warrants be dismissed. But I think at this point, with where we are so early in the process, that and there's nothing on here that's not needed, and there's nothing on here that's without credibility of being at least examined. I think we vote them all up. There's only 12 plus the 3, so 15.
Mr. Chair,
Mr.
does the town expect us to put forth these warrant articles in priority, or is this priority for us as a discussion point?
It would be a discussion point for us. We're not required to put them in priority order. What tends to happen, especially with the finance committee, is that as they're allocating free cash, if they reach a point, which they always do, where there's only a certain amount of money left and there's more articles than there is money, they ask our opinion as to which we would like, where we would like to see a certain amount of money sent if we had the choice. A lot of times what it boils down to is, just as an example, would you, just using this list, would you want $10,000 towards your instructional materials, or would you want $10,000 to do the whole middle school, high school bathroom upgrade? Grade. So it's kind of usually so I've got a certain amount of money. I can pay for something entirely that may be a lower priority, or I can throw a little bit of money at a bigger article.
So I'm supportive of putting forth all the warrants. I think we've done that in the past, and we've gone back to the drawing board. I would say we don't need to do it, or at least I don't need to do it tonight, but I would definitely like to talk about the prioritization, because I think we're close, but I have some ones that I think I would like to move around, or suggest that we move around. So I'm for putting them all forward, and then when we get to that point of if we need to prioritize, if they're looking for a priority list, and I know it's a priority list, and then it's a partial funding or a full funding. I've seen that process over the years, so that's my only, we don't need to have that discussion now, but I want to reserve the right to do that at a later point.
Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Catalano.
I make a motion that we put forward the 15 warrant articles as presented to the Board of Selectmen, correct? To the Board of Selectmen.
Second.
All right, then moved and seconded that we put forth 15 articles for the spring annual town meeting. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may, the memo is attached to 2 quotes we received from roofing companies. Mr. McDuff also received a quote from a company that does infrared imaging to see where the leaks might be on the roofs. So For the Clyde Brown only, the infrared imaging would be $17.85, but we'd like to add a little bit of, for your consideration, to do the flat roof areas here in the middle high school, because we do have leaking here too. And if the company's on site, I think they'll be able to, we estimated for a maximum of 2,800, be able to do both. We also have as one of the quotes, temporary roof covering for $6,600 to put a tarp over the asphalt shingle roofs on the pitched roof, not the flat roof at Clyde Brown, because that is where, if you recall, we have a bad leak in room 5. A private citizen donated his services because he works in the industry to try to fix that leak. We've tried to fix the leak by putting rubberized material over it. I forget the exact nature of that rubberized material, but it has been ineffective, and the leak, while less than it was, is still there. So we recognize that this is something that, while we pursue a bigger fix that would, the nature of which we need the infrared imaging to determine, we would recommend the tarp being put over that portion of the roof to eliminate the leaking for now. We also we've done air quality testing in that room, and the ceiling tiles that were there and a little bit of the frame between the tiles did have mold, and that is being cleaned immediately, and the ceiling tiles replaced. So I would ask the committee to consider, and Mr. McDuff, feel free to chime in, a total cost of $9,400 to take care of the most pressing leaks at Clyde Brown, and do the infrared imaging to determine where the other leaks are, exactly where the origin is, because the water does travel and it's hard to determine where the roofs need to be repaired.
Mr. Chairman, may I inquire?
Mm-hmm.
Nancy,
Yeah.
this business with the mold, this is the stuff we were talking about before that we didn't think was the mold, but it turned out to be mold?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any danger to the children? That's my
No.
primary concern.
No, and it's being cleaned immediately. There is, because it's been a persistent leak on the ceiling tiles and the little up high in the on the frame, the metal framing. Mr. McDuff, yeah, please, feel free.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's kind of hard to see on this roof because the way these tiles are designed, they're actually designed to cover over the grid system. Basically what has happened over at Clyde Brown, room 5 area, the roof comes down at a fairly healthy slope like this. And then, I'm assuming for architectural purposes, they flared it out at the end. It was like an oriental type of Far East type of design feature. When they did that, you had shingles coming down on the slope that's fairly pronounced. As it bottoms out, you have a rubber membrane with roof drains at certain intervals going across. Where the shingles meet the rubber membrane is where I believe, and I say I believe because I wasn't here last year, where the problems began. I think the roof drains that were there, freezing and thawing, and it got very cold for a long time. They just froze up, and there's no place for the water to go. So as the water started to back up onto the area that had the shingles, they started to lift and really wreak havoc there. So that is the portion of the roof that needs to have some sort of cover, for the sake of a better word, put over it to prevent any sort of rain from washing into room 5. That's not, as the superintendent mentioned, that is a short-term repair. That is not something we plan on having for months and months. No, it's just something to literally cover the building, that part of the building. And then we have some other options that we can look at. Just that part of the building, just that part.
How do we know that the mold doesn't present a health danger?
Okay, the mold that was identified, and I don't have the report with me, and I'm not a biochemist, so I'm not going to say it's not the mold that creates black mold, but I've seen black mold before and it does not look like that. Basically where they got those samples from was from the ceiling tiles that were fairly well stained, you know, that almost looks like a coffee stain, if you will. That's where those samples came from. They also took samples from when they spot a tile like that, they move it aside and see what was sitting in the channels, the tracks, the grid. And there's some places that had some mold residue on it. So what's happening is the ceiling tiles are being changed out, and where that ceiling tile happened to be, we will get in with a disinfectant and just wipe it down and make sure that all traces of that are gone.
Mr. Chair, so Mr. McDuff, so you're saying to us that all places, or let me start first. So all places where there's been persistent leaks or visible damage, were they tested for mold?
In that room, yes. In that
What about
room,
other places within, for instance, the lunchroom? There's visible damage there.
Yes, absolutely.
Was the lunchroom tested for mold?
The lunchroom was not. However, based upon the information that we have, we will proceed through the building with the assumption that there could be mold, so we will start changing all sorts of tiles. Not that, you know, half of them are stained, but when we see one, it's just going to get changed, and that's just how it's going to be. That's just how it has to be.
I would ask that all places with visible damage or ceiling tiles that be tested for mold.
We can do that.
I think that's the appropriate response. I think doing anything other than that would not be doing our due diligence.
Okay.
We were told that it didn't feel like mold, it smelled like mold, and now it
True.
is mold. So, and
That's
I
true.
understand that there's other levels of mold and they're not all as dangerous as others,
Correct.
but why are we leaving anything to chance at this point in time?
That's why I would remove all the tiles that I see.
I think we should not just remove, we should test. And if there's mold in any of those places, we need to remediate that and mitigate that as soon as possible.
Mr. Chair. So both my kids went through room 5, and last year the leaking was pretty bad. And the tiles were removed for a while, so we could see up into the ceiling. And you could see a lot of discoloration. I mean, water's hitting the tiles, but it's coming through the roof first. So the ceiling, it's not this part of the ceiling, but the roof part of the
Correct.
ceiling inside. Has that been tested? Because there was discoloration. I'm not a mold expert, I don't know, but
No,
it seems like it's growing from somewhere.
What I had done, and I'm not answering your question, if someone comes in, a company comes in and they're the experts, I show them the space, I tell them what the problem is and the potential problem, and I say, test what you need to test. If you would like me to test, say, the insulation, which is like next to the, at that angle that you were speaking of, I can have that done as well, just to be sure.
It seems wherever there's discoloration, within the roof, through the insulation, through the ceiling, wherever there's,
Yeah,
I
a
would think
water
that they
stain,
would
if you
test
will.
all of
I noticed that the ceiling tile certainly was discolored. And I did not see, say, wood that was damaged or with lots of marks on it or something like that. But I can go back through and take a look at that, and also have like a piece of the wood taken out, just like a nip, kind of like a small sample, so that they can test that too. That's fine. I have it done.
I'm concerned, I just want to make sure that it's safe. I mean, I don't know who does the testing, who can verify that it's safe, but I mean, I think that has to be done. I mean, I don't want kids,
Yeah, that's,
I mean, first, my primary concern is the kids' safety and
Absolutely.
health. The second concern is liability. I mean,
Correct.
obviously, we are where we're at. I mean, the roof is in bad shape. and you're taking steps obviously to try to stop that leaking. But the remediation has to be done, in my humble opinion, immediately. And we need to be assured that whatever tests positive for mold, that it's safe for children to be there in that area.
I can go back to the testing company and ask about baselines. I don't bring the report with me, but I can review that and report back to the superintendent tomorrow, so you can have that information.
And how much, just as a ballpark, because I just want to do it now, how much do you think additional testing would be?
If we test where we see a discolored tile throughout the building,
Yep.
and perhaps beyond that, move the tile aside and go up and
Yep.
take some more samples, probably about $3,000.
Okay. So, in our school rental as of January 31st, there was $20,000. We have a formal proposal here for just about 10,000. I would entertain a motion that we authorize the spending of up to $20,000 to address what's in the memo and the additional testing and any required remediation for roof issues at Cloud Road.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Pedalo?
I make a motion that we authorize the operations manager to spend up to $20,000 out of the facility rental revolving account to address roof issues, roof repairs at the Clyde Brown School, to address testing of the roof at the middle school, high school, and to start the remediation and for further testing for mold in the Clyde Brown.
Second.
Moved and seconded. And with that, yeah, if we could just communicate as we're doing this over the next few days, whatever reports we have, whatever results we get, and whatever steps are being taken.
I know we're about to vote, but so just the other discussion item. If this costs more than 20, we should not, I'm not saying we go ahead and do a $100,000 job, but we shouldn't limit ourselves to the $20,000 budget. That's what we authorized tonight, but if it's more and we have a significant problem, we need to sit back down in an emergency meeting or not
Yep.
and address this.
Yep.
So the 20 is just what's in the facility account. I don't want to limit
Yeah, no,
the scope of our address.
And I, as one member, am not so interested in the aesthetics as I am in safety, health. So I mean,
Correct.
it's not like we're looking to put lipstick on a pig. I mean, we're just looking to make a healthy pig, you know, I mean, I certainly don't want kids getting sick.
Well, I understand the direction you want to take.
Further questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In more, thank you, Mr. Macbeth. In more, positive things, we had a visit today from the Maynard and Southampton, New York school districts, looking at our immersion program, looking to improve theirs, and they were very impressed with what they saw today. And at Clyde Brown in January, the students there, about 350 students, have done over 35,000 math problems in ScoopPad, which is a good average of over 100 problems per student average last month, and we congratulate them on their math accomplishments. And that's it.
In my report, the first thing is last Wednesday, the governor released his budget. The result for Millis in combined local aid between Chapter 70 education funds and general local aid was it's about a $50,000 overall increase, or about 1%. Even though total local aid in the governor's budget is up 4%. this is just another year of continuation where the formulas in state allocation do not benefit Millis. And I've reached out to the selectmen last week. We did receive a letter from a joint letter from our representatives on Beacon Hill asking about needs that we have addressing local aid. So in the coming weeks, we'll be working with the selectmen to make our case to the state legislature to hopefully try and help us out as they work through their budget process. Although we have to deal with the realities because history proves that it doesn't change a whole lot. So that $50,000 increase, we did get very preliminary numbers from the town administrator and local aid tonight, so we'll walk through those during our working session. But it's, it is a, normal 2.5–3% increase. It's not a windfall by any means, so we are not easily going to cover our budget requirements for this coming year. Also, because we were having our meeting tonight, the town clerk's office asked me to provide an update for people who do watch this, that the deadline to register to vote for the March 1st presidential primaries is February 10th, which is next Wednesday. So people who see this on Monday will have 2 days to go register. They also have an online, Secretary of State, I guess, has established online registry, which the town clerk's office says has been actually very positive. We've had just 25 people vote or register today. And they also asked me to mention, like I did last time, that nomination papers for town offices are available.
Mr. Chair, was that you coming out of town hall in the Field to Burn t-shirt? Is that?
No, it's not.
Is there a school committee, is there an opening on the school committee?
There's always at least one opening. on the school
Who's up on
committee.
the school committee?
I know.
I think we should publicize that fact that there's an opening. Don't sit high atop your perch and push off any sort of people. Ah,
I just said, I've said for 2 meetings now that nomination papers are available.
very quietly, that's fine. Technicality like that.
So that's what I have. Chairman's report, subcommittee reports, elementary school building committee.
Committee member Denise Gibbons will give the report.
So on, was it just last week?
Wednesday the 20th.
The 20th. All right, 2 weeks. On Wednesday the 20th, we had the first community forum for the project. Happy to report that it was very well attended. There were about 50 people that were there. Stayed 2.5 hours to talk about their hopes, concerns for elementary school, to learn a little bit about the process, and to also talk about ways that the community might want to use a new facility or an updated or renovated facility. A very positive night, run primarily by the Taipei architects and their education professional. Prior to that, the administration and the faculty at Clyde Brown, plus the 5th grade teaching staff at the middle school, went through a full day session. They did the same exercise. We are coming up on when one of the first major milestones is going to be submitted to the MSBA, which is the preliminary design plan, which gives a lot of background on what the architects have been doing as far as looking around the town, see what sites might be available, the educational plan that the superintendent and Principal Phelps have worked very hard on over the course of the last few months. And it really gives the MSBA an overview of what Millis is looking to do and how they're hindered by the facility, and some of the recommendations that the architects have to make the facility better or create an environment that better supports the educational plan. So next community forum will be on March 2nd. It will again be at the Clyde Brown. We will again have childcare available for anybody that would like to attend. And over the coming weeks, we will publish an agenda much in the same way that we did for the last one, just to let folks know the actual topics that we'll be discussing.
Excellent. Correspondence?
Yes, you have in your packets a letter of thanks that our Director of Transportation, Mary Jane Driscoll, has written to the DPW workers, stating that on January 25th, one of our vans would not start and the driver came into your shop and asked for some assistance. A few of the gentlemen there came out to help. We're not sure which one, but we want to extend our sincere appreciation for the help they offered. And she personally bought a Dunkin' Donuts gift card, and she'd like to invite them to have coffee on her behalf, or with her thanks.
Very classic. Classic.
Also, in your red folders, under correspondence, you have the agenda for tomorrow's half-day of professional development. At Clyde Brown, the teachers are working on the new, newly approved at the state level science standards. The curriculum, state curriculum is called Next Generation Science Standards. So teachers K to 4 will be working on that. Special education staff will be working on our upcoming coordinated program review, which is a lot of work and looks at special education, civil rights, and other areas, English language learner services. And Dr. Marks is heading up that. And at the middle school level, they'll be working on the bullying prevention curriculum that we have. And at the high school level, we'll be working on their content area curriculum maps. Also, in there, we have 2 letters of thanks. One to Mr. John J.H. Kim, who's the Chief Executive Officer at the District Management Council, for donating the furniture that is now in our conference room, and some additional chairs and other furniture. And we're very much appreciative of their donation of furniture that's beautiful, but they were no longer using in their business, and it's much appreciated that we found out about that, and he was so generous in providing it to us, and also the Gibbons for transporting and setting it all up for us. Also in there is a thank you letter from Bob Mullaney, our high school principal, to Mr. and Mrs. Alger, who donated a new XVZ color printing, a color printer to Millis High School. He states, as we seek to offer our students more opportunities in the STEAM areas, science, technology, engineering, art, and math, state-of-the-art technology such as the 3D printer you have donated will enable our teachers to design robust learning activities with real-world applications. The equipment you have donated will help increase student engagement and foster student creativity. Be assured that this 3D printer will get a lot of use and will help our students reach higher levels of learning and achievement. Thank you again for this most generous donation. As principal, I am extremely grateful for your support of our school and students. So it's a 3D printer, not a color printer.
You just point out, Nancy, that the Algers also donated the scoreboard, that donated the 3D printer. I mean, very nice of them.
Very generous.
Makes the small community very nice.
Very, very generous, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Next we'll go to saying school committee announcements.
No, thank you.
No old or new business tonight, and we will not be going into executive session, but we are going to move now to a working session to begin our FY17 budget process. So, okay, our next meeting will be Monday, February 23rd. So, and we'll be here at 7:30. Thank you all very much.